Hi and welcome to this video in which I'm going to show you 10 secret tips, and that are also quite unconventional, to master any language you want.
What? That's possible?
And in this case I'm speaking about the German language because that's what I teach. And yeah, I've had a few personal success stories, so I think I wanted to share them. And yeah, let's get into it.
So here are my notes, and yeah, basically. So
The first one I have is keeping a diary. Now this is good for many reasons. So one, it allows you to really pick up on the vocabulary that you need and use in your own personal life. So what you can do, I recommend to not overdo it because I think you can get tired of it very quickly. So you can write like 5 sentences per day, 5 pages if you feel like it. But the important thing is to write down stuff that is really relevant in your mind. So phrases that you would also use. And then I would advise to study those, just like you would with vocabulary. So if it's more sentences, then just use them. And yeah, that's basically it. And whenever I taught that to my students and they did that, they became a lot more fluent, like very quickly. So yeah, this is something that I really recommend. Second, why am I so out of breath? I didn't even work out or anything. Moving on. So the second one is to follow German recipes, or like not German recipes, but you know, finding recipes in your target language. So I think food is something that affects every one of us. We all need to eat. Personally, I don't like to cook, but I think if you are studying a language, it can be very helpful to look up recipes and then you know, listen to the foods that are interesting to you, like you Google, I don't know, or find on YouTube how to do pasta with a certain sauce and cheese, I don't know, and then you have the name of the recipe. So like you would know that tomato sauce is Tomatensauce in German, or I can't think of a single food, but you get the point. So basically, you learn more about, you know, certain dishes, and it also ties into the culture a lot. So if you, for example, if you study French and then you look up how to bake a croissant, then you know, you also get a bit of the culture part, which I think can be very practical. The cuisine is always relevant in this case, I think. Number 3 would be to find online communities. So here I'm recommending like media and YouTube a lot. Also social media is great. So for that I mean, if you have a certain niche or specific hobby or interest, then I would recommend to find that niche on YouTube. So if you're really into beauty YouTubers, then find, if you're learning German, a German beauty guru that you know, you find interesting. And then follow their videos regularly. So I would recommend like one video a day or something. And this doesn't feel so dreadful because it's content that you actually enjoy, and it's not so, you know, like learning grammar and vocabulary, and it's like, it feels like work. In this case, it's more like a hobby. And if you're scrolling anyways, then you might as well scroll in your target language.
Duh.
Number 4 is to listen to podcasts and audiobooks. I think that is a great tool. Now, if you are studying German, I recommend, for instance, Coffee Break German. That's a good podcast that is also designed for beginners. Deutschlandfunk Kultur, also pretty good. Also covers like cultural stuff. So you even learn more about, you know, the country itself, which I think is always relevant. Like if you learn a language, also know about the culture. I think those two go hand in hand. And a culture wouldn't be the way it is if it weren't for the language. So something to look out for. And yeah, Die Höhle der Löwen I think is pretty interesting. It's a TV show, but there's also a podcast on it, and it's about like inventions that people have or like business ideas, and then they will be analyzed, and I think that this can be pretty cool.
But this might just be me. Like, it depends on your interest. And again, based on your interest, look for podcasts. I don't know.
I'm speaking too fast, but I'm really like out of breath. I'm getting old, and I run a lot. I don't know why I'm so out of breath. This is not normal, and I'm only like in my 20s, so I'm doing something wrong, I guess. What else do we have? Creative writing again goes hand in hand with the diary entry thing. I think if you, I don't know, have a story in your head or anything, or like a short story, or like if you think about, it's difficult to explain, but like sometimes I think everyone fantasizes about stuff and doesn't have to be like something great, just like I don't know, if I'm going on vacation, I will first do this and this and that, and can be in the form of to-do list, but also like how do I imagine my life to be. Like it can be very, very general questions that go in through your head, and I would write those down and just memorize them, memorize the words that you're using, memorize a few phrases. And if you feel unsure, you can also always ask ChatGPT to correct your text and then have it in the right grammatical structure, which is always great. Speaking of which, ChatGPT is an amazing tool to learn a language, in my opinion. Like you can literally use ChatGPT as a teacher. So do that, and you can ask it to give you the basic vocabulary that is needed in everyday life. You can ask it about niche topics. You can get recommendations to get media recommendations. You can, the options are limitless. Look, you can literally ask ChatGPT what are 10 steps to learn a language, and then it will give you like ideas. So I think this is really, like, don't sleep on it. I think it's great that AI is weird and controversial in so many ways, but in this way I think it can be an amazing learning tool, especially when it comes to learning a language. Next, I would just say that if you can, I would participate in events that are about your target language. So if you live in the country that you're learning the language in, I would recommend going to the cinema or like theater, museums. Like try to network with people in the language. Don't be shy to practice the language, even if people don't, I don't know, if they switch to English or something, ignore that completely and just do your own thing. And those are pretty much all of my tips. I hope that some of them helped you, and that's pretty much it. But I realized that a lot of them help a lot of students that I teach, and so the general idea is that it goes from using the, I don't know, let's say more dry stuff like textbook stuff, grammatical stuff, and like teaching in a normal environment like at school, and gets it into a more creative niche. So it's not so much about the theoretical stuff, but using it in ways that are also fun to you, and that also explore your creative sides a bit more and make it a bit more engaging and not so dry. So that's why I think that those can be amazing tools. So thank you so much for watching, and yeah.